What if I told you that your inability to focus isn't your fault? That every time you pick up your phone just for a second and lose 45 minutes, you're not weak. You're just fighting a battle your brain was never designed to win. Modern life has turned your attention into a commodity. Tech companies spend billions engineering apps specifically to fragment your focus. Your brain is under siege from 1,000 different directions and you're losing. But deep in the mountains of Japan, Zen monks discovered something 800 years ago that neuroscience is only now confirming. There's a way to rewire your brain for unbreakable concentration. It's called Ichigyo Zammai, and it's about to change everything you think you know about focus. This is the story of Marcus Chen, a man who lost everything to distraction, found a path back through ancient Japanese wisdom. Before we begin, drop a comment right now. What's stealing your focus today? Your phone? Your thoughts? Be honest. And if this story helps you, smash that subscribe button. This channel is dedicated to bringing you the deepest wisdom from Japanese culture. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The CIO LAP's Marcus Chen was 34 years old when his entire world collapsed in a single afternoon. He sat in his empty office, empty because he just laid off his last 3 employees, staring at the bankruptcy notice on his desk. His tech startup, the one he'd spent 7 years building, the one that had consumed his marriage, his savings, his youth, was dead. But here's what haunts me about Marcus's story. He had every advantage. Stanford business degree. Check. $2 million in venture capital funding? Check. A revolutionary product idea? Check. A talented team? Check. So what went wrong? Marcus couldn't finish anything. He'd start strategic planning meetings and end up checking Slack messages. He'd begin coding sessions and switch to reading competitor news. He'd schedule investor presentations and stay up all night randomly researching tangential topics. His co-founder, David, confronted him 6 months before the end. Marcus, you're the smartest person I know, but you have the attention span of a goldfish on Red Bull. You start 10 things and finish nothing. This company's dying because you can't focus. Marcus knew David was right, but knowing didn't help. The more he tried to concentrate, the more his mind scattered. The harder he pushed, the more exhausted he became. He tried productivity apps, 47 different ones. He tried standing desks, binaural beats, nootropics, meditation apps that lasted 3 days before he abandoned them. Nothing worked. The day the company officially dissolved, Marcus did something he hadn't done since childhood. He cried, not the silent, dignified tears of a grown man, full body shaking sobs in that empty office. His phone buzzed, another notification. He picked it up to check it, and suddenly had a moment of brutal clarity. He was crying about losing his company because of distraction. While being distracted, something snapped inside him. Chapter 2. The old man and the BOOK stew, right that evening. Marcus wandered the streets of San Francisco aimlessly. He found himself in Japantown, standing in front of a small bookstore he'd walked past hundreds of times but never entered. Kinokuniya Wisdom. It books, the sign said in both English and Japanese characters. Something pulled him inside. The store was quiet, filled with the smell of paper and incense. Behind the counter sat an elderly Japanese man, perhaps in his 80s, reading a book with complete absorption. He didn't look up when Marcus entered. He didn't acknowledge the customer. He was simply present with his book. Marcus found himself watching this old man, fascinated. In a world of fractured attention, here was someone completely absorbed in a single activity. After several minutes, the old man gently closed his book, looked up, and smiled. You have the eyes of someone whose mind is scattered like leaves in a storm, he said, in accented but perfect English. Marcus was startled. Is it that obvious? It's been watching people for 60 years? The way you moved through my store, touching books without seeing them, looking at titles without reading them, standing in one place while your energy scatters in 10 directions. You are everywhere and nowhere. Marcus felt exposed. I just lost my company. Can't focus on anything. The old man nodded slowly. Sit. He gestured to a small chair behind the counter. His name was Takeshi Yamamoto. He'd been a Zen practitioner for 55 years, living in monasteries across Japan before opening this bookstore in his retirement. Let me tell you something, Takeshi said. Your problem is not that you cannot focus. Your problem is that you have never learned how to focus. In the West, you believe concentration is natural, that some people have it and others don't. But in Zen temples, we know the truth. Focus is a skill, and like any skill, it must be trained. I've tried meditation apps, Marcus began. Takeshi waved his hand dismissively. Apps. 5-minute exercises. These are toys. I'm talking about something deeper, something that changed the course of my life when I was a young man failing at everything. He pulled out a piece of rice paper and wrote 3 Japanese characters, Isin Senmei, Ichigyo Zammai, Takeshi pronounced slowly. It means 1 practice samadhi, complete absorption in a single action. When you eat, only eat. When you walk, only walk. When you work, become the work itself. That sounds simple, Marcus said. Takeshi's eyes glinted. Simple. Easy. No. This practice will show you how fragmented your mind truly is. It will be uncomfortable, frustrating, even painful at first. But if you commit, truly commit, it will reconstruct your brain from the foundation. How long does it take? Marcus asked. For basic competency. 30 days of dedicated practice. For mastery? A lifetime? Right. But you will feel the difference in 1 week. Takeshi stood and walked to a shelf, returning with a small journal. For the next 30 days, you will practice Ichigyo Zammai in everything. And you will record your experience in this journal. If you commit fully, I will teach you the deeper techniques. If you give up, don't return to this store. Marcus held the journal, feeling its weight. Why are you helping me? He asked. Because 40 years ago, I was you, a failure, scattered, lost. And someone taught me this practice. I am simply passing forward what was given to me. Chapter 3. The first 7 days of HEL Day 1 was humbling. Tokashi's first instruction. Tomorrow morning, you will make tea. Only make tea. For 20 minutes, this will be your entire universe. Not making tea while thinking about your failed company. Not making tea while planning your day. Only tea, Marcus thought. How hard can that be? Very hard. He set out his tea supplies. Green tea, a ceramic cup, a kettle. He began heating water and immediately his mind erupted. What am I doing? This is stupid. I should be job hunting. I need to call my mom back. Did I pay the electricity bill? That investor was right. I'm washed up. I'm 34 and starting over. What's that notification sound? He realized 5 minutes had passed and he hadn't even noticed the water boiling. His phone was in his hand. He didn't remember picking it up. He started again and again and again. That 20-minute tea ceremony took him 90 minutes because he had to restart it 7 times. When he returned to the bookstore that evening, Takeshi asked simply, "How many times did your mind wander?" "I honestly don't know. 50 times? 100? Takeshi nodded. Good, you're beginning to see the enemy. Most people live their entire lives never noticing their mind is a wild horse. You have noticed. It's the first step. Day 2 through 7. The breakdown the next 6 days were brutal. Takeshi gave Marcus his specific practices. Morning, 20 minutes making and drinking tea with complete attention. Midday, 30 minutes reading a single page of text, absorbing every word. Evening, 20 minutes walking meditation, feeling every step. Marcus failed constantly. His mind was like a hyperactive child, constantly seeking stimulation. Running away from the present moment, creating imaginary problems to solve. But something strange started happening around. Day 5. He began noticing moments, just brief flashes, where his mind was completely quiet. 3 seconds of pure presence while tasting tea. 5 seconds of complete absorption while walking. 10 seconds of total focus while reading. They were just moments. But they were different from anything he'd experienced in years. On day 7, Marcus wrote in his journal, "I'm beginning to understand. My mind has been running on autopilot my entire life. I've never actually been present for my own life. I've been a ghost, haunting my own existence." Chapter 4. The science behind the magic now. Let's pause Marcus's story and talk about what's actually happening in his brain. Because Ichigyo Zammai isn't mysticism, it's neuroscience with an 800-year head start. The default mode network your brain has what neuroscientists call the default mode network, or DMN. This is the network that activates when you're not focusing on anything specific. It's your mind-wandering system. Here's the problem. In modern humans, the DMN is hyperactive. It's constantly generating thoughts, worries, plans, memories, fantasies. It's the voice in your head that never shuts up. A 2010 Harvard study found that people spend 47% of their waking hours with their mind wandering in these moments, correlate directly with unhappiness. But here S. What S? Incredible. It's a regular practice of focused attention, which is exactly what Ichigyo Zammai trains, physically changes your brain. The prefrontal cortex transformation. When you practice bringing your attention back, tea ceremony, walking meditation, single task focus, you're exercising your prefrontal cortex, specifically the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which controls attention and impulse control. An 8-week study at Massachusetts General Hospital found that meditation practice, which is structurally identical to Ichigyo Zammai, increased gray matter density in the hippocampus and prefrontal regions by 5 to 8%. That's like getting a 5% stronger muscle, except this muscle controls your entire life. The attention restoration. Dr. Gloria Mark at UC. Irvine discovered that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully return to a task after an interruption. Think about that. Every time you check your phone while working, you're destroying 23 minutes of productive capacity. Now multiply that by 50 to 100 interruptions per day. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just bleeding 95% of your cognitive capacity through 1,000 tiny attention cuts. Ichigyo Zammai is the tourniquet. The flow state gateway psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent 30 years studying. Flow, that state where you so absorbed in an activity that time disappears. His research found that people in flow are 500% more productive than normal. Guess what the entry requirement for flow is? Single-pointed attention, complete presence. Ichigyo Zammai is literally training the gateway skill to flow state. Chapter 5. The Breakthrough. On day 30, Marcus returned to Techie's bookstore. The old man looked at him and smiled. "You look different. Your eyes are clear." Marcus nodded. "I feel different. It's like I've been living underwater my entire life and just broke the surface." "Tell me what you've learned," Takeshi said. Marcus pulled out his journal, now filled with notes. "I've learned that I was never present for anything in my life. I was always thinking about the next thing, or dwelling on the past, or imagining futures that don't exist. I had experiences, but I wasn't in them. And now when I eat breakfast, I taste food for the first time in years. When I talk to my mother, I actually hear her words instead of waiting for my turn to speak. When I code, I started a new project. I enter this state where hours pass like minutes." Takeshi nodded approvingly. "You've touched the edge of samadhi, complete absorption. But I need to tell you something important. This is not a 30-day practice. This is a lifetime practice. The modern world will constantly try to fragment your attention again. You must guard your focus like a warrior guards his life." "I understand," Marcus said. "But I want to go deeper." Said there were advanced techniques. Takeshi's eyes gleamed. "Yes. Now we begin the real training. The 5 levels of Ichigyo Zammai." Explained that Ichigyo Zammai has 5 progressive levels. Level 1. External single tasking. What Marcus had been practicing. Do one physical thing at a time, no multitasking. Phone away, notifications off, one browser tab open. Level 2. Internal single pointing. Not just one external task, but one internal thought stream. When mind wanders, gently return. No daydreaming while doing tasks. Complete mental presence. Level 3. Task identity fusion. You don't do the task, you become it. When coding, you are code. When writing, you are writing. Observer disappears. Level 4. Extended flow. Maintain absorption for 2 to 4 hours continuously. Deep work sessions that produce exceptional output. Time distortion becomes normal. Level 5. Constant presence. Ichigyo Zammai becomes your default state. Life becomes a continuous meditation. Distinction between practice and life disappears. Most people never go past level 1, Takeshi said. And level 1 alone will put you in the top 1% of focused individuals. But if you want true mastery, you must progress through all 5. Marcus spent the next 6 months working with Takeshi, practicing advanced techniques. And during those 6 months, something extraordinary happened. Chapter 6. The RACURACTON while practicing Ichigyo Zammai, Marcus started a new company. Not another ambitious startup with venture funding and grand visions. Something simpler, a software consulting business, helping other companies solve specific technical problems. But he applied everything he'd learned. His new operating system, morning, 6 to 6:30 a.m., tea ceremony with complete attention, sets intention for the day, no phone until 9 a.m., deep work block, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., 4 hours of pure coding or strategy work, phone in different room, all notifications disabled. One task at a time, complete absorption, produces more in 4 hours than he used to in full days. Midday reset, 1 to 2 p.m., mindful lunch, eating meditation. 20-minute walking meditation, energy restoration, collaboration block, 2 to 5 p.m., meetings with complete presence. Client calls with total attention, team coordination. His clients notice. Marcus, when you're in a meeting, you're really there. It's unusual. Evening practice, 5 to 6 p.m., journal reflection. Planning next day with Ichigyo Zammai principle. One task at a time tomorrow, the results were staggering. Within 3 months, his consulting business was profitable. Within 6 months, he had a waiting list of clients. Within a year, he'd hired 5 employees and was generating $750,000 in annual revenue. But here's what's more important than the money. Marcus was happy. For the first time in his adult life, he wasn't anxious. He wasn't overwhelmed. He wasn't scattered. He was present, focused, alive. His ex-wife contacted him, noticing the change. Marcus, you seem different. Calm, what happened? He smiled. I learned to be where I am. 2 years after meeting Takashi, Atakuza's consulting firm had grown to $2.3 million in annual revenue with a team of 15. But more importantly, he'd developed a reputation. Clients didn't just hire him for technical skills, they hired him because he was the only consultant who would fully focus on their problems. While other consultants juggled 5 clients simultaneously, Marcus would dive deep into one problem at a time, emerging with solutions others missed. His secret wasn't smarter than other consultants, he was just completely present. One of his employees asked him once, Marcus, what's your secret? How do you solve problems so fast? Marcus replied, I don't solve them fast. I solve them completely. Most people spend 100 hours on a problem while being 30% focused. I spend 30 hours on it while being 100% focused. Same total mental energy, but concentrated produces breakthrough. Chapter 7. The Teachings Your 7-Day Challenge Now. You might be thinking, this is inspiring, but how do I actually do this? Let me give you Marcus's system distilled into a 7-day challenge that will prove whether this works for you. The 7-day Ichigyo Zammai Challenge Day 1 and 2. Environmental control. Remove all distractions from your workspace. Phone in another room during work. Turn off all notifications. Yes, all of them. 1 browser tab rule. Close everything except what you're working on. Create a focus ritual. Marcus used tea, you can use coffee, breathing, whatever. Day 3 and 4. The Pomodoro integration. 25 minutes of pure focus on one task. When mind wanders, and it will notice it and gently return. No guilt. When you get distracted, it's training. 5-minute break. No phone, just breathe or stretch. Repeat 4 times. Track how many times your mind wanders. Day 5 and 6. Deep presence practice. Choose one mundane activity daily. Washing dishes, showering, walking. Do it with complete attention. Notice every sensation, sound, feeling. This trains your awareness muscle. Also maintain Day 3 and 4 work practices. Day 7. Integration and reflection. Apply Ichigyo Zammai to everything you do today. One thing at a time, complete attention. Evening, journal what you noticed. Compare your focus today versus day 1. The 3 non-negotiables. Number 1. Phone separation. If your phone is in the same room during focus time, you've already failed. It doesn't matter if it's face down or on silent. Its mere presence fragments your attention. Number 2. Single task obsession. If you're reading this while doing something else, stop. This is the disease. One thing at a time. Number 3. Gentleness. When your mind wanders, and it will wander 1,000 times, don't get angry. Just notice it and come back. Every return is a rep in the gym for your attention muscle, which you'll notice. Days 1, 2, 2, how fragmented your attention actually is. This will be uncomfortable. Days 3 to 4, brief moments of real focus appearing. Days 5 to 6, longer periods of absorption, tasks completed faster. Day 7, a fundamentally different relationship with your attention. After 7 days, you'll know if this works. And if it does, if you experience even a fraction of what Marcus did, you will never go back. Closing. Marcus still visits Takeshi's bookstore every week. Now they drink tea together as equals, two practitioners on the same path. Last month, I asked Marcus what the most important lesson was. He thought for a long moment, then said, "The lesson is simple but profound. Your life is made of moments. If you're not present in your moments, you don't have a life. You have a blur." Most people sleepwalk through their existence, attention scattered across 1,000 meaningless fragments. They wonder why they're anxious, why they're unfulfilled, why success feels empty. It's because they're never actually there. Ichigyo Zammai woke me up. It gave me my life back, not by adding more, by helping me be fully present for what I already have. Your challenge. If this resonated with you, I challenge you to start today, not tomorrow. Today. Pick one activity in the next hour and do it with complete attention. It's just one. Feel what it's like to be fully present for 5 minutes of your life. Then come back and tell me in the comments what you noticed. Subscribe to this channel for more deep dives into Japanese wisdom, philosophy, and practical life transformation. Remember, one thing at a time, complete attention. This is the way. Walk with honor. Follow the path. See you in the next video.